I think the last 10 or 15 years there are many new ideas in the field of the helping profession, especially child protection, that are very interesting and actually also, working much better than some of the old way of working. Um, you can you can sort of summarize this with saying this is safety organized practice, and I think the most well known, of course, is Science of Safety. It was developed by Andrew Turnell and Steve Edwards. But there are also a lot of other approaches that, like the Olmsted model or partnering for safety, that all go on similar grounds, and that is, in my view, especially looking very good at the strengths of people, so being strength based, and at the same time looking very good at the dangers for the children, because you should not have a naive practice. So I think the difficult thing for workers is to combine them both at the same time, being at one time very supportive and at the other time also looking very well at the danger. And I think in the early days of solution-focused therapy, like with Insoo Kim Berg, she has already also published a book on child protection, and you could see there from her style that she was very persistent. But at that time, she was not yet talking very clearly about the dangers. It was still very solution-focused, talking about solutions, but you could see from her style that she was very persistent in what needed to change. And after that, there came several approaches that were using some form of a model, like a 3-column model or the Science of Safety model, where the strength and the worries are written down on separate pieces of the paper. Same goes for the Olmsted model. So in that model, there was more specific attention to really describing what the worries were, which was a little bit odd for people that were just starting with solution-focused therapy, because they were used to talk only about solutions, strengths, best hopes. But I think this form was really needed, because if you work together with child protection or mandated organizations, then you need to show to them and to society that you have been talking about the worries. You cannot say, oh, I'm solution-focused, I like to talk only about dreams. People will not be satisfied with that, and the judge will not be satisfied with that. You need to show that you have really spoken in all openness about the real dangers and worries. So in these forms, there's a clear, separate part of the form where you really show to the judge or to the child protection team leader that you have been talking really about the worries in all openness. So one of the key elements in the new approaches, of course, is the safety planning. So after you have looked at the strengths and the worries, there need to be goals for safety, and from that goals comes a plan. So that's safety planning, and I think actually Susie Essex from Bristol was the first to really look into safety planning with high-risk cases, like shaken baby or sexual abuse that was denied. And Andrew Turnell, of course, has written with her also his second book on that. But Susie Essex definitely has influenced a lot of people on this. And safety planning comes with the notion that you, and I think it was Barry Mason who talked about position of safe uncertainty. Like you are, it's better safe to assume that you're not sure what the truth is. It might be what parents tell you, it might be what child protection thinks, it might be worse, it might be not so bad. So you have to think of several options, and that's what Susie Essex has learned us to always think about 4 or 5 different scenarios and build safety to all of them. So with safety planning, the idea is to discuss with parents that it's better to be safe than sorry. So better to make a plan which is a little bit more maybe than they would think is necessary, but it will reassure child protection that nothing can happen in the future. And you also don't get into a fight about what happened in the past, because we cannot determine the 100% what happened in the past, but we can try to make a plan which is very good in risk reduction and create enough safety for the child to return home or to remain in the home.